Good evening, students. So, last class we have discussed about till the internal resistance of the cell. Okay, so we have learnt what is meant by internal resistance and other facts we have learnt. But in this class we are going to study about the next important topic in the current electricity. There is nothing but Kirchhoff's laws and its application. Okay. So you can ask what is meant by Kirchhoff's law. The Kirchhoff's law is equivalent to which law? Ohm's law. The Kirchhoff's laws are equivalent to the Ohm's law, but the main difference, Ohm's law can be applicable only for simple circuit. If the circuit is a complex circuit, then we can use Kirchhoff's law. Okay. So Kirchhoff is a scientist who discovered two laws. The first law is known as current law, and the second law is known as voltage law. The current law, otherwise called as junction law. The current law, otherwise called as junction law. Okay. The current law based on law of conservation of charge. Yeah, this is very important. It is mainly based on the law of conservation of charge. See, there are two laws. First one is current law and the second one is voltage law. The current law, otherwise called as junction law, it's based on law of conservation of charge. Conservation, we know that charge never be created, charge nor be destroyed. Okay, so this is based on that principle. According to that current law or the junction law, the current entering the junction is equal to the current leaving the junction. The current entering the junction is equal to the current leaving the junction. Or we can say that the algebraic sum of the current meeting at the junction is 0. The algebraic sum of the current sigma I is equal to 0. The algebraic, that word is very important here. Algebraic means what we are doing, Nada? We are considering the sign. If the current moves towards the junction, means we can take it as plus. If the current leaves away from the junction, means we can take it as minus. Okay. So let us take a junction. This is the junction. Assume that there are 4 or 5 currents. In this case, the current entering into the junction. Here the current leaving, and here the current entering, and here the current leaving, and here the current entering. So I1, I3, I5 are entering towards the junction O. I2 and I4 are leaving the junction. So according to the Kirchhoff, the algebraic sum, so you take it as I1, entering we are going to consider as a positive. So minus I2 because it is leaving the junction. Then plus I3 entering the junction. Then minus I4 and plus I5 is equal to 0. Sigma I is equal to 0. Or you can write this as I1 plus I2, I3 plus I5 is equal to I2 plus I4. That means current entering the junction is equal to current leaving the junction. That is the main. Current entering the junction is equal to current leaving the junction. Understood? So this we can call it as current law or voltage law. This is the first law. It's based on law of conservation of charge. So that is the principle of the current law. Now let us move on to the second law. The second law based on the law of conservation of energy. The second law we can call it as voltage law, or we can call it as loop law. It is based on the conservation of energy. It is based on conservation of energy. That means Energy never be created, energy never be destroyed. Okay, or simply you can say that sigma v is equal to 0. In that case, we are taken as sigma I is equal to 0. But in this case, we can write it as what not as sigma v is equal to 0. Now, let us move on to the second law. Here, the law states that, first let me explain this with a circuit. This is a battery having the EMF E1, and there is a resistance. That resistance we take it as R1, and here we have what on the two branches. So here one resistance and here another one resistance. It is connected with the battery, and here it is connected with another one battery. You considered this is the negative and this is the positive terminal. Here this will be the positive and this is the negative. This EMF E1, this you take it as E2, here the EMF is E3, and this is connected here with the another one resistor. Let me take this resistor as R1, this is R2, this is R3, and this is R4. Okay. According to the law of conservation of energy, let me take this is the current I1. So the current leaving the junction is I1, means the current entering the junction also I1. So this is I1 means this is also I1. Okay. Now this I1 has two paths. So the current will be divided here. So this current, let me take it as I3, and this current, let me take it as I2. Okay. Now let us name the path as A, this junction as B, this as C, this as D, then E, and this let me take it as F. Okay. So according to the voltage law, let us take a closed path, or let us take a loop. That is the reason it is called as a loop law. Let us take this loop A, B, E, F, A. So in that loop, if you take the product of current and resistance, that means the algebraic sum of the product of current and resistance in the closed loop is equal to the algebraic sum of the net EMF in that circuit. Clearly listen here, the algebraic sum of the product of current and resistance in that loop is equal to the algebraic sum of the EMF in that particular loop. Okay, so here let me consider the loop A, B, E, F, A. Let us consider this loop. When you are writing the loop, the first letter and the last letter must be same. Then only the loop is closed. Okay. So let us take the loop A, B, E, F, A. In that loop, the algebraic sum of the product of current and resistance. So I1 R1 plus I2 R2. Here all plus because the current are in the clockwise direction. Okay. If it is a clockwise, you take it as positive. If it is a anti-clockwise, you can take it as negative. So I1 R1, then this we can take it as I2 R2, and here I1 R4 is equal to sum of the EMF. There are two EMF in that loop. One is E1 and another one is E2. So you can write that as E1 plus E2. Clearly listen. I1 R1 plus I2 R2 plus I1 R4. Here all the current are in the same direction, so we are taken all as positive. Or the clockwise direction we can take it as positive, in the anti-clockwise direction we can take it as negative. It's our wish. There is no rule that only you take this all what under positive or negative. Okay, but always starts from the positive terminal of the battery and consider that direction as a positive. Okay, then the opposite direction can be taken as negative. So here we have taken this way as a positive, then we will be getting this I1 R1 plus I2 R2 plus I1 R4 is equal to E1 plus E2. Now let me take it as the big loop. Big loop means let me consider the loop A, B, C, D, E, F, A. Let us take that loop A, B, C, D, E, F and A. Let us take this loop. In this loop, let us use the same I1 R1. Here this loop is not valid, so you have to take this as I3 R3, then plus I1 R4. Here also all are considered as positive because there is no change in the direction of the current is moving in the same direction. Then I1 R4 is equal to E1 minus E3. Why there is a minus sign here? See, in this equation you are taken as plus, but this equation you are taken as minus. Why minus? Why we are using minus here? Na? Here positive and here also positive. So it's a wrong polarity. Here positive, this is negative. That is the correct polarity. That is the reason here you are taken as positive. But here positive. Again that is connected with the positive terminal of the battery, third one. So that we can consider as a long polarity. So we cannot able to consider over there. Then you will be getting I1 R1 plus I3 R3 plus I1 R4 is equal to E1 minus E3. The minus indicates that the polarity is wrongly connected. Plus indicates that both are connected together. So this is the second law of Kirchhoff. Understood? So the first law based on the law of conservation of charge, and the second law based on the law of conservation of energy. Okay. Now let us move on to the main application of this Kirchhoff's law. The main application of Kirchhoff's law is that Wheatstone's bridge. Okay. So here we are going to use a bridge. That bridge we can call this or not a Wheatstone's. Wheatstone's bridge. The Wheatstone bridge is an important practical application of Kirchhoff's law. In the Wheatstone bridge, you can able to find out four resistors. They are connected in the form of a bridge. So this terminal, the name the resistor, this let me take it as P, this is Q, this is R, this is S. It's called as Z naming. Z naming means first P, then Q, then you are coming here and S, not in the clockwise direction. So while naming you have to be careful. We can name it any other way also, but the result will be easier to understand if it is named in the form of Z way. So P, Q, R, S. These are the four resistors are connected in the form of alone. Let us name that junction. This is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. Across the junction AB, there is a battery, and the key K is connected. This is the battery with the potential V, or with the EMF E, and this is the current I. Okay, and this is the key K. Now, when the current reaches here, the current has two paths, so current will be divided. Let me take this current as I1 and the downward the current as I2. Okay, and here across the terminal BC there is a galvanometer connected. The resistance of the galvanometer is G. Assume that G is the resistance of the galvanometer. So a galvanometer is connected at that junction G. And now the current I1 reaches the point B. After that again it can be divided into two. So let me take this current as I3 and this current as IG. Okay, and the IG reaches D and I2 also reaches D. Then both will be added and it's move on I4 to the resistor S. Okay, so this is the structure of the Wheatstone bridge, or you can say that it's a circuit diagram of the Wheatstone bridge. Now, first let us take at the junction, listen carefully, at the junction B. At the junction B, we are going to use the junction rule. According to the junction rule, you know that the current entering the junction is equal to current leaving the junction. The current entering the junction is equal to current leaving the junction. So let us see the current entering the junction here, I1. The current leaving the junction here, I3 and IG. Okay, so the current entering the junction I1 is equal to the current leaving the junction Ig plus I3. Consider this as equation 1. This is the junction B. Now let me take at the junction D. Here we are going to consider. In the junction D, there are two currents which are entering towards, and there is only one current which is leaving away. So here, if you use the junction rule, you will be getting I2 plus Ig is equal to I4. Consider this as equation 2. Okay. At junction B and at junction D, we use what not a junction rule. The first rule, Kirchhoff's first rule is used. Now, let us move on to the loop rule now. Let me take the loop, small loop. This loop I am going to consider. That means the loop A, B, D, A. Let us consider the loop A, B, D, A. So, according to the Kirchhoff's law, the product of current and resistance, the algebraic sum of the product of current and resistance in the closed circuit is equal to the net EMF in that particular circuit. Okay, so let us go with the algebraic sum of the product of current and resistance. That means here the current is I1 and the resistance P, I1P plus, here plus only because the current is moving in the clockwise direction. Okay, now IgG, Ig is the current and G is the resistance, minus, why minus? The current is coming in the anti-clockwise direction, so you can use minus. So minus I2R is equal to 0 because there is no EMF. If there is an EMF, you can use what not E. But in that circuit there is no EMF, so the net EMF will be equal to 0. So take this as equation 3. Now let me take the outer loop. Outer loop means loop A, B, C, D, A. I am going to consider this A, B, C, D, A. Again, use the same Kirchhoff law. So according to the Kirchhoff's law, first you have to use what not the product of current and resistance. So I1P plus I3Q and minus I4S. The minus indicates again it is anti-clockwise direction. Minus I2R is equal to 0. Take this as equation 4. That you can consider as what not equation 4. See, I1 is equal to Ig plus I3 junction. Here the entering the current I2 and Ig. So I2 plus Ig will be equal to leaving the current I4. Now we use the loop law. According to the loop law, I1P plus IgG minus I2R due to the negative sign will be getting 0 because the current is moving in the anti-clockwise direction. And if you are taking outer loop, I1P, I3Q minus I4S minus I2R will be equal to 0. Okay. Now at the balanced condition, the current entering into the galvanometer will become 0. Now, this is very important. Balanced condition means what now? The potential at B and the potential at D both will become equal. That means VB will be equal to VD. If VB and VD are equal, there is no difference in potential. So there is no current will be flowing through the circuit. So Ig will be equal to 0. If Ig 0, what will happen to the equation 1? The equation 1 will become I1 is equal to I3. The equation 2 become I2 is equal to I4. And in equation 3, what you can write now? I1P minus I2R is equal to 0 because this term will become 0. Ig will be 0. So I1P minus I2R is equal to 0. That means you can write it as I1P is equal to I2R. Take this as equation 5A. This you take it as equation 5B. And this you take it as equation 5C. Okay. Now substitute 5A phi B and phi C in equation 4. Everything going to be substituted on equation 4. So if we substitute in the equation 4, what you will get? I1P plus I3, again you can use I1 because I3 will be equal to I1. So I1Q minus I2S minus I2R is equal to 0. But you know that I1P is equal to I2R. So plus I1P minus I2R get cancelled. So the remaining what will get na? I1Q is equal to, or I1Q minus I2R is equal to 0. That means I1Q is equal to I2R. Take this as equation 6. Okay. Now what I am going to do now? Equation 6 divided by equation 5. 5C first. Equation 5C divided by equation 6. That means 5C is what? Nada? I1P equal to I2R. Here I1Q equal to I2S. So this I1 cancel, I2 cancel. Then the remaining will be P by Q is equal to R by S. So this is the balanced condition of Wheatstone bridge. P by Q is equal to R by S. So that is the condition for the Wheatstone bridge. Or you can say that the balanced condition of Wheatstone bridge. The method remains unaffected by the internal resistance and the source. That means at the balance condition, if you interchange, the battery can be replaced here or the G can be replaced in the place of battery. There is no change in the balance condition. The balance condition will be same. P by Q is equal to R by S. This is the application, main application of what? Wheatstone bridge. Okay. So now, the Wheatstone bridge is not having any practical application. So let us move on to the practical application of Wheatstone bridge. So what is the practical application of Wheatstone bridge? The practical application of Wheatstone bridge is nothing but Kirchhoff's law. Meter bridge. I think some of you might have done this as a practical also. So you will be using what now? The next practical application is the meter bridge. The meter bridge is a device which is used to find the unknown resistance or resistivity. Even we can able to find out what not the resistivity. Okay. The meter bridge is one of the main practical application of this thing. That if you see the principle of the meter bridge is nothing but the Wheatstone bridge at the balanced condition. That is the principle of what this meter bridge. It consists of 1 meter length wire. Due to that 1 meter only, it can be called as another meter bridge. It consists of what 1 meter length of wire. That is the reason it is called as what meter bridge. Okay. Now let us see the diagram of what this meter bridge. The meter bridge has thick copper strip. 3 thick copper strips will be fixed on the wooden table. Okay. And there are 2 gaps. This gap let me take it as G1 and this gap let me take it as G2. And this terminal you can take it as A and this you take it as, and this terminal you can take it as B, and this is C, this you take it as D, and this you take it as E. Okay. Across the terminal AB there is a wire of length how much? 1 meter is connected, and this wire is made by manganese. or Constantine. Why we are using manganese or Constantine? Already we have learned about the temperature coefficient of resistance. Okay, the temperature coefficient of resistance, that means alpha value. The alpha is very less. Hey, it's a very important one more question, repeated board question. Why we are using manganese wire as a meter bridge wire, or the material which one is used as a resistance wire, mean that is nothing but manganese. Why manganese is used as a resistance wire? Okay, so that's very important. So here either we are using manganese or Constantine because alpha is very less. If alpha is very less means what is the real meaning? If we increase the temperature, or if we increase the current, the temperature produced across the conductor also increases, but that does not affect the value of resistance. We know that in a conductor, if the resistance increases, the temperature increases. Or if the current increases, that ultimately increase the heating effect. The heating effect ultimately increase the value of the resistance. But here, the alpha is very small. That means if the temperature increases also, the value of resistance will be constant. It gives a constant resistance. Due to that reason, we are using manganese or Constantine. It has very less alpha value. Okay, and there are two gaps. The first gap is covered with let us take this is gap G1 and this is not a gap G2. Across here there is a unknown resistance connected. Okay, and across the gap G2 there is another resistance is connected, that you can take it as a resistant box. This is the known, this you can take it as unknown, and this is what not a known resistance. That means you can able to fix the resistance 2 ohm, 3 ohm like that. Okay, so this you can take it as P and this you can take it as Q. Q is the known resistance and P is the unknown resistance. Now the point D, from the point D there is a galvanometer. After the galvanometer, a high resistance will be connected in series combination. After that, there is a jockey. The jockey is a sliding wire that touches at a particular point. Now, what is the actual procedure? We have to press the jockey at A. Then we start moving the jockey towards the wire, 1 meter length of wire. At a particular point, you can find the galvanometer shows zero deflection. That means no current will be flowing through the circuit. At that condition, we can say that the galvanometer is shows zero deflection or null deflection. The circuit, that means the bridge is balanced. You can say that the meter bridge is what not balanced. Understood now? Okay, and you can ask, so what is the use of this high resistance? Galvanometer is a sensitive device. It shows full scale deflection. That means the galvanometer shows the reading. The small current comes also, it shows what not a complete deflection. Okay, that may affect the device. So to avoid that, we are using a high resistance. The high resistance indicate that it is a safety measure for the galvanometer and does not affect the balance condition. The balance condition never be affected by the high resistance. Okay, understood or not? Now you can draw the equivalent network in the Wheatstone bridge. Now you see this point, you take it as A, and this point you take it as B. Okay, this point you take it as jockey G, because this wire only connected across here. Okay, and this point you can take it as here, and this length let me take it as L1 or L, and the remaining length will be 100 minus L in centimeter. Okay, this you take it as L centimeter, and the remaining length will be 100 minus L centimeter. So this point A, this point B. So this resistance is P. This is the known resistance, and this resistance is Q. Okay, and here the length is L, and the resistance, let me take it as R. R is the resistance per unit length. Then the total length L, the total resistance will be R into L. And here the resistance will be how much? 100 minus L into R. And again, this is the point D. And at the D, what is there? There is a galvanometer. Then there is a high resistance. After that, jockey. Then across the A, there is a 1 meter wire. And sorry, I missed one thing. And across A, you can find what not even a battery that is connected across the terminal A. Okay, the current will be flowing through the circuit as I. So the terminal is connected with the battery AB. So both are equivalent. That means the circuit will be equivalent to what not this circuit. Sometimes they may give the meter bridge circuit and ask you to draw the Wheatstone bridge circuit. Sometimes they may give the Wheatstone bridge circuit and they will ask you to draw the meter bridge circuit. Understood, Nada? So now let us move on to the balance condition. Already we have derived the balance condition for what not a Wheatstone bridge. According to the balance condition, P by Q is equal to R. R only here RL by 100 minus L into R. So this R get cancelled. So here the P is the unknown resistance. We need to find out P. So P is equal to QL divided by 100 minus L. Everything is known now. The length wire the galvanometer shows 0 deflection. That length we can able to find out from the meter bridge. And the remaining 100 minus L if we substitute we will be getting. So we can able to find out the unknown resistance value by using the meter bridge. So this is the practical application of Wheatstone bridge. Now you know the formula for the resistance. R is equal to rho L by A. So the R only we can take it as P here. From that we can able to find out rho. Rho is equal to RA divided by L. R value we can able to calculate from here. So instead of R I can substitute as P. A will be the area of the wire, that we can take it as pi R square, and the length will be L. This R can be calculated by the screw gauge. By using a screw gauge, the diameter of the wire used in the place of P can be calculated. If you divide the diameter by 2, you can able to get the radius and substitute the value of radius over there, and the length, you know the value of resistance. We can able to even find out the value of resistivity. The resistivity also can be calculated by using what now? The meter bridge. Understand? So meter bridge has two applications. One is it is used to find out the unknown resistance. Second one, we can able to find out the resistivity of the given material. Understood, Nada? So this is the practical application of meter bridge. Only one more topic is left over, that is nothing but potentiometer. We will discuss the potentiometer in the next class. Okay. Thank you, students. Good luck for your exams.